The morning sunlight crept over the veranda tiles, turning the old mat a pale shade of gold. Poochie lay upon it, weak but breathing steadily. The wind was still, even the sparrows kept their distance. Mom crouched beside her again, eyes heavy from another sleepless night. She had checked on her countless times, whispering softly, calling her name, trying to feed her bits of bread and milk which lay untouched beside the bowl. The only thing Poochie had taken was a sip of water, her tongue trembling against the surface. Mom felt helpless. The wound wasn't visible, but something deep inside was wrong. The way her hind legs dragged, the way she flinched at every sound. Mom opened her phone again, scrolling through websites and numbers she had already tried. Vet for stray cats near me, animal ambulance in my area. And then, by chance, a new name appeared, a service that claimed to send veterinarians for home visits. She didn't think twice. When she called, the voice on the other end was calm and confident. "Yes, ma'am. Please keep the animal somewhere she can't run away. We'll reach in a few hours." Mom thanked him repeatedly, her voice trembling between relief and worry. She had never cared for a cat before. She had no idea how to help, only that she couldn't watch this little creature suffer. By noon, she had prepared the space, spreading Poochie's mat on the bed inside her room, placing a towel beside it, and keeping a bowl of water close. She stood by the door, calling softly, "Come, Poochie, come here, little one." The word Poochie now had meaning. The tiny tabby stirred, lifted her head weakly, and began to drag herself closer, inch by inch, drawn by the warmth in Mom's voice. When the bell rang, Poochie froze. Mom's heart jumped too. At the door stood the vet and his assistant, carrying small black bags and stethoscopes that glinted faintly in the sunlight. The men entered quietly, but even the sound of their shoes made Poochie tense. Mom lifted her gently, mat and all, placing her on the bed. The vet spoke softly. "Don't worry, we'll be gentle." He pressed carefully along Poochie's spine, tracing the trembling line of her back. "This feels like a soft tissue injury," he said after a moment. "Maybe she tried to squeeze through something, or fell while escaping. She's lucky nothing seems broken." Then came the injections. 3 of them. 1 muscle relaxant, 1 anti-inflammatory, 1 vitamin booster. As the first needle went in, Poochie let out a sharp, raw cry, the kind that sliced through the air and settled in Mom's chest. She clutched her hand to her mouth. What happened? Why did she cry like that? The vet's voice was calm. It might have hit close to the injured muscle. But this will help her. She needs rest, warmth, and food. She'll recover. Mom nodded, though her eyes were already wet. When the injections were done, the vet handed her a small paper slip with notes and said they'd check again if needed. After they left, the room felt too quiet. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic and fear. Poochie looked toward the door, panting, her tail quivering. Then, as if an invisible thread had snapped, she started moving again, dragging herself off the bed. "Poochie." "No," Mom whispered, trying to stop her. But she wouldn't stay. She slipped under the bed, then crawled out and toward the door. Her breathing was shallow but determined. Mom realized she couldn't force her. She opened the door gently, carried the mat back to the veranda, and set it down exactly where it had always been. Within moments, Poochie crawled back to it, exhausted, frightened, but home again. That's when Mom noticed another figure, Kittu. He had come running at the sound of Poochie's cry, only to hide behind the row of flower pots when he saw the strange men leave. Now he was peeking out, his tail flicking nervously. Slowly, he padded closer. He sniffed the mat, brushed his tail across Poochie's side, and gave a low, questioning meow. Poochie blinked, half in response, half in exhaustion. For a while, they just sat there, two quiet creatures, side by side, as if nothing else existed. Then, without warning, Poochie tried to stand. She wobbled, took a few dragging steps toward the gate, and looked back. Kittu followed, pausing once to glance at Mom. She didn't move. She just watched as they disappeared around the corner of the building, one limping, one guiding. The mats still lay on the veranda, warm from where she'd been. Mom sat down beside it, her eyes fixed on the gate. The afternoon light turned golden, and for a long time, there was only stillness. Hours later, as the sun sank behind the buildings and the air grew cooler, a faint sound came from the gate, a soft, broken meow. Mom looked up. There she was. Poochie had come back, still weak, still dragging a little, but her eyes clearer. She went straight to the mat and lowered herself onto it. Mom didn't try to touch her, didn't say a word. She just placed a bowl of fresh water and a little food beside her. Poochie sniffed it, and for the first time in 2 days, she ate, slowly, carefully. But she ate, and for Mom, that tiny sound, the crunch of food between fragile teeth, was the sound of hope returning.